Hello everyone, welcome back to Classic Automotive Services. So this week we've been doing a lot on Purple Stag. I think I got back on it Tuesday. I think I started work back on this because I had to do one of the other cars first. It was actually the Stag that was under the cover. I had to get that all finished up. So we got the hood back on it. So we saw in the comments people wanted us to show how to adjust the hood frames and go through it all. It's a bit tricky to do that because one, I'm here on my own, and my partner, she was looking after our daughter. Plus, it slows the job down as well. So we are going to look into getting some GoPros and things like that. So if anyone can recommend any good quality cameras that we can use for video and when we're doing work, that'd be great. Because especially when we get onto the TR8s, we do want to document the whole build on them. So that'd be good if anyone can recommend a good GoPro that we can use. So, but we'll go onto the hood and how we've done it. Like I said last week, first thing you have to do is you have to get the hood frame on the car, get it all adjusted properly, so all the catches are working correctly, it latches down to the back correctly, you're not having to fight with it, it literally just folds and clicks into place, and it folds up and down as it should. A few things to look out for are all the pivot points on the hood frame. We'll go inside and we'll show you the hood frame in a minute. They have specialist bolts. They're like a specialist bolt with a shoulder on them, which the frame then pivots on. You can't just take them out and replace them with an ordinary nut and bolt. It will not work properly. It won't line up at all. So they are expensive. Rimmers do a bolt kit for it, but it's well worth the money if you refurbish a hood frame to put the correct bolts back into it. This one didn't actually need them. They're all really good. So that was one thing we didn't have to do. Another thing when you set up the hood frame is to leave a decent gap round the window and round your rear deck. So you have to leave around about 15mm around all of it to allow for the hood material, the channel that you have a channel riveted on, and your rubber. If you don't do that, then you're going to again run into issues with the fitting of the hood. So adjustment wise on the frame, the actual main frame, you've got up and down and backwards and forwards on the actual main three fixings on the frame. You've then got adjustment on your rear rail. You can adjust the rear rail backwards, forwards. You can tip it a little bit this way and that way, so that way it follows the rear deck really nicely. You've got to make sure the gap is even all the way around the rear deck. Most of the Stags, the rear header rail is actually too straight. Over the years, the hood shrinks on the corners and it picks the rail up a little bit and bends it. So you have to get a block of wood under the middle, and then just ease it back down and bend it back down a little bit, just so it follows the rear deck nicely. So if we go inside the car, we'll show you the actual hood frame. The interior isn't actually finished yet, and neither is the hood. It's not quite finished yet. We've still got to just wrap the frame with the flaps. We've still got to put the plastic trim back on it, and I've still got to fit all the rubbers. I haven't actually fit the rubbers yet. I'm actually, now the hood's on the car and glued on, I'm actually going to leave it for a few days just to finish stretching out, because it's got a few wrinkles in it where it was folded up in its box. So I want to leave it for a few days just to settle, and then I'm going to retension the back a little bit because I'm not happy with it at the moment. It's a little tiny bit loose here, so I can retension that when I come to fit the rear rubber. So I can just give it a bit more tension, refit the rubber, and that will get rid of the rest of the wrinkles. But like I said, I want to leave it for a couple of days first just to settle out a little bit. So the hood frame, we've recovered all the rear header rail with the correct oilcloth. We've got plenty of photographs of the frame and everything on it as well, so we'll put them in the video. Makes a big difference if you actually buy the correct oilcloth and fit it nicely. It should have a join here and a join here. When you uncover it, you'll see a weld on the actual rail where it was made. So that's pretty much where the join goes. It overlaps, and you have to put a little folded return on the twill cloth and make it so it's all nice and neat. The header rail is also covered in a twill cloth. I'm not going to fold the hood right now because, like I said, I want it to stretch out. But these are the fixings I was on about. All these pivot point fixings here. All of these are all specialist bolts, every single one, and it is important that they are in good condition, and two, the correct bolt. Like I said, if you fit the wrong one, you will have issues folding it. So we've got all the padding back on here as well. We've got all the new webbing on, which we had to fit. And again, it's important when you do that not to just replace it where it was. You very often find with the hoods, they are handmade at the end of the day. The stitching lines aren't quite in the same place as for example, the hood that you're taking off. So you've got a fixed point. What I did, you've got a fixed point at the B post. This rail here is fixed. It doesn't move at all. It's welded in position, but this one and that one both move. So what I did, I then measured when I was fitting the webbing. Obviously the header rail is fixed as well when it's in position. So what I did is I attached it to the header rail, tensioned the webbing, attached it to this rail here, by the B posts, and I then measured the stitching line on the hood from here to here, and then made that bar so it was in line with the stitching by moving it to where it needed to be onto the webbing. I then done the same for this rear rail too. So makes it a lot easier. So then now all the flaps all line up when the hood's actually on the car, which is exactly what you want. You don't want it too far out, otherwise you can't glue them on. So I think that's it on the hood frame. The last things we've got to do literally just to fit the covers and the seals. I've got to order the seals for it. I haven't got them yet. And just retension the back, and the hood's back on the car. It's a massive step forward for it. And our next step is to actually do the interior. Now the hood's on the car. So if I get out, we've got the new carpets in the boot, which I'll show you. Right, so we've got the new carpets, and we've gone for the proper ones a Stag should have. They're the nice tufted wool carpets with all the backing actually sewn onto them. They're not cheap, admittedly, but they do make a massive difference to the car when you've got nice carpets in there. So we've got the carpet sets for it, which we will be fitting probably towards the end of the week once I've got the hood finished. So that's the carpets, and that's the purple Stag where we're up to the moment. It's getting very close to being finished now. I think the owner's getting quite excited because he's popping up quite often, and he likes seeing it, and I'm assuming he's very happy. He seems happy with it. So I think he's getting excited now because he's hopefully planning to take some shows in July, and he wants to use it again. It's been off the road quite a while now, so I don't blame him for getting excited and wanting to use it. So I am going to allocate a couple of days for the TR8s next week to start stripping down them. Probably going to start stripping the actual shell for it because I really do want to press on with them now. It's just everything keeps getting in the way at the moment because we have got a new arrival which is behind the camera at the moment, which I'll show you in a second. And I've also got another Stag coming in next week too for some work. So yeah, it's busy, really busy. But yeah, we'll get onto the TR8s hopefully next week. And like I said, I'm going to allocate a couple of days and actually get on them. So they are definitely getting started next week. There's no way around that. Everything else will have to just wait. Everything has to wait its turn basically. So I've got to start on the new arrival, which we'll show in a second. I've got to start on that to find out, make sure there's no major damage to the engine. So I'm actually going to start on that this afternoon. But yeah, so we are really busy, but we'll now show you the new arrival. Alright, we did mention about this car, I think it was either last week or the week before, coming in. It's a 1978 Bristol 603. I'm not sure if it's a Series 1 or a Series 2. I'm not that clued up on them, if I'm honest. It's in for some mechanical work. We are primarily Triumph and British Leyland specialists, but we do take on any classic. It's what we do, but we do specialise in the Triumph and British Leyland. So this car has been local to us for many, many years. I remember it when I was a kid. I have worked on it a number of years ago before. It's now changed hands since then. It's been off the road for a number of years, probably 4 years, something like that. And it's unfortunate it's now got engine issues. It was running, but now it's not. It's lost compression on a number of cylinders. And we have had when I went over to look at it at the owner's house, we popped the rocker cover off, and it's got valves that are sticking open, which is not good. So we've got to pull the heads off of it, and we've got to do a full top end engine rebuild on it and get it back up and running. Change the fuel in it, because the fuel it's rancid, it's really old, and it absolutely stinks. So we've got to flush all the fuel system out, change the fuel, basically just get it up and running again. And then find out why it's got no brakes, because it's also lost all of its brake fluid, and I don't know where it's gone at the moment. It doesn't appear to have any leaks that are visible, so it may just be a master cylinder issue, which has then filled the servo up. I think it's servo assisted. I'll have to have a look in a second. So we have to look at that. But underneath the bonnet, it's got a 360 cubic inch Chrysler V8. It's a big juicy V8. Kind of needs to pull this tank along, so it's a big old bus. So yeah, we've got to rebuild the top end of the engine. As you can see, it's got no fluid in the reservoir for the brakes, and no, it isn't servo assisted, so I don't know where the fluid's gone. It might have leaked into the car. I'll have to have a look. It's, as you can see from the fuel filter, it is very black and very nasty. So got to drain all the old fuel out of it. There's disgusting old fuel, and get this thing back up and running for the customer. Not 100% sure what his plan is with it yet, whether he's going to keep it or move it on, but we'll get it so it's back up and running for him. It is quite a nice car. I was never that keen on them a few years ago, but I actually do quite like it now. It's just a nice old car. It's all aluminium bodied. If you can afford to buy one of these back in the day, you were doing well for yourself. They're a very, very expensive car, and they're still quite expensive now. Nothing compared to the 60s Bristols, but these ones are still quite a lot of money to buy. I was having a look last night on the internet, and it shocked me how much they were. So, but I think that's all we've got for this week. I'm going to start pulling the engine apart this afternoon, and if I find anything interesting when pulling it apart, we might add it into the video, depending on how long it takes me to get it apart. So enjoy the rest of your weekend. For all you fathers out there, enjoy Father's Day, and we will see you next week.